guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, and I'm back for you with a story that I know that many of you have been, well, waiting for for basically an entire year now. And for that, my apologies. That's my bad, to be honest. Got caught up in that of other stories. So this one basically took a back foot and I kept forgetting about it, mainly on purpose. So yeah, and this is Code Vein, The Revenant Hero. That's right, Revenant Hero is back. Mainly because, well, due to the announcement of Code Vein 2 basically coming out next year, and makes me kind of hyped. However, I won't lie, I am a little bit annoyed with that of Code Vein 2. The reason, it's not because of the gameplay or character designs. No, it's mainly because it feels like it's because they decided to separate itself entirely from the main story and timeline of the first Code Vein game, which I loved because it was connected to the world of God Eater, one of my all-time favorite monster hunting games. It actually got me back into monster hunting games such as Monster Hunter itself, because back then as a kid I could never play Monster Hunter because I wasn't that good at it. But then I played World and I love it, and I had to thank that of the God Eater series for it. But now I don't know what to think on how the next Code Vein is going to be. I'm still going to get it, and I'm probably still going to enjoy it. And I just feel annoyed that Bandai has basically killed one of the other series that made them relevant for me outside of the Tales of series and Tekken. And I know some of you may be saying, oh, what about their anime games like Dragon Ball Z and Naruto? Honestly, let's be honest, any freaking publishing company can basically do what that Bandai does. They're just the #1 company that basically takes risks when it comes to making anime games. That rant out of the way, let's go that of a pretty necessary recap. In the last part, Izuku ended up finding his way back home, back instead of the world of MHA, back into Japan, in Tokyo and Masafu. However, he soon ends up in that of a, well, cemetery instead, and continues walking forward, trying to head back home. Not to mention, wondering what happened to that of his friends, like Louis, Yakumo, Mio, and also Morasame. While wandering the streets, people giving him that of side eyes, given his appearance, and also him having that of a, well, bayonet spear in his hands. He soon runs into that of villains. However, these are familiar villains that we all know, and some of us love to hate from time to time, as it being members of the Chi Hisaikai, 2 original members, and 1 member that we all love to basically want to kill after all. That being Shin, the one with that of the forceful troop quirk after all. As they are basically running their protection racket for adding more money to the Hisaikai's, well, payments, Izuku decided to step in, not caring about that of ending their lives at all, or anything like that, killing all 3 members. However, the last member wasn't killed by him, but was killed by somebody he never thought he would ever see again. That person being Io, as the 2 lovers are now back together. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? Chapter 2, back home, but with bad news. All the way back in the district city of Asakusa lies the HQ of the Chie Hisaikai, or the 8 Precepts of Death, with many members basically scattering and talking amongst each other about what happened tonight. With one member saying, did you hear? Shinsan basically got himself killed. With another saying, are you for real? Wasn't that the young master's one of his closest, well, bodyguards? Yeah, he was a member of the 8 Bullets, if I recall. I hear that they went on a protection racket mainly to teach that of a few newbies that they brought along. Outsiders, all of them. I can't believe the young master allows bastards like that. Mimic and Chronostasis Anakis are basically the only members who joined the family, but the others, they're basically 2-bit thugs that the young master brought in. And honestly, not to mention that they aggravated one of our best rackets, the protection racket, because we were always fair on that people, especially given the fact that most heroes don't even go around districts like that. But now, the master's getting too damn bold for himself. You want to tell him, though? Are you kidding? We would all be dead if we tell somebody like him about how to run that of the Saikai. If anything, I miss the old boss. Now, if the old boss was here, none of this would have happened. Just what the hell is going on now? With then seeing that of a young man with that of short black hair, having that of a plague mask on his face, with that of a fur green jacket and a black dress shirt and black dress pants, by saying, "So you're telling me that Shin has been killed by some vigilantes?" With a man with that of a trench coat and a plague doctor's, gas mask, has saying yes, from that of our, minions who basically came, the ones to check up what's happening. They've been taken in and apprehended by the Masafu Police Department. Within a little person in that of a, looks like a, small ass gimp suit, saying, "You want us to go and kill them, boss?" No one steps on the Saikai and gets away with it. The young man, known as a boss, or Kai Chisaki, couldn't help but lean back over the couch saying, "It's not worth it. If Shin and those others got themselves killed, it's not worth it anyway." Within, everybody completely shocked by this. Then the man in that of the, trench coat and gas mask couldn't help but say, "Are you sure about this? Shin was an important piece among us after all, especially his quirk." With Kai nonchalantly saying, "True, it is a shame that he's going to be gone, but not a huge loss. It also makes it easier to know that nobody would basically come down on us, especially knowing what we have planned for the future." Within, everybody is completely wondering and shocked, with everybody in the room saying, "Get Eri ready tomorrow. We're going to need to get more and more of the drug ready." Can also sell this incident as a good way to basically give it to that of certain villains. Give out the trial drug out first. And when people finally get the hits that they need to take on that of those heroes and even these new vigilantes on the scene, word of mouth will spread and we'll have a pretty good customer base for the time being. The money will come in and then we'll be able to continue to make a final product after all. After this, the world will know about the Hisaikai and will have the power that we've earned, that was always meant for ours back in the underground. With many of the people in the room, all of them all wearing that of, mask of various varieties, as they all couldn't help but agree. With one, couldn't help but just scoff before walking out of the room, not even caring about what the young man even wants for the future after all. However, in one dimly lit room, in one room filled with that of, girls' toys, in a bed, lies that of one pale-skinned girl with multiple bandages around her arms and legs, with snow white hair and a single horn on the right side of her forehead. She couldn't help but feel scared and alone for so long, just wishing for somebody to save her. Back all the way back in Masafu, at that of the police station, two people end up walking into that of the small city police station. A man wearing a tan trench coat and fedora with that of, short black hair and blackened eyes, while the other being that of some pretty tall but lanky and scrawny man with looking with that of black sunken eyes and blue eye irises, with that of messy long blonde hair. Walking through these hallways, could help but think, are you really sure that this is the same young man? With then the other man saying, "Listen, Yagi, I would never bring you up to this if I didn't think it was important. But yes, We went over the credential, basically that of several hours ago. A small time and basically forgettable Yakuza family known as the Chie Hisaikai ended up trying to shake down some local businesses here in Masafu due to a protection racket. With All Might saying, Yakuza, small time thugs like that, moving into cities like here, all the way from Asakusa, or even Shibuya or Shinjuku, places like that. Normally you would think they would go to places like that. Well, bigger district cities here in Tokyo have way more heroes on patrol. They stick with smaller district cities, like here in Shizuoka Prefecture. Masafu was definitely one of those places. And yet, they were stupid enough to do so in front of UA High, one of the top hero schools. Even if it doesn't have that many, even if it's still out of the way, it's still a promising town, especially with heroes too. Let's also bring up the fact that the UA entrance exam is coming up, so I need to prepare for that. The man with the trench coat saying, Yagi, you still haven't found a successor, haven't you? Looking down, the man as you know as Yagi, basically saying, Suguguchi, please, with that of the man known as Suguguchi, or Naomasa Suguguchi. Look at his friend saying, All Might, you do know that you need to find a successor, sooner or later. You can't keep this up. I know. Taking a deep sigh before saying, Night Eye suggested one of a pupil he's been, training to be a hero, but I can already tell. When I met young Mirio, all I could see was basically a image and basically a mirror of myself, with Suguchi saying, isn't that a good thing? We need another symbol of peace. Within, All Might saying, you think that, but do we really? Within, Suguchi saying, what are you talking about? As then saying, when you told me about this young man, the young man who's currently in this precinct, with then finally reaching that of the interrogation room, 2 rooms, one side holding that of Io, as she's basically being grilled by that of a pro hero, mainly that of Death Arms. The muscular man continues basically trying to grill her, but she doesn't really care, as every time when she looks at him, she just gives him that of a curious and somewhat confused look on her face, which making that of the, strong arm pro basically feeling frustrated, not getting anywhere with her. With All Might saying, so this is the other suspect? But then Suguchi basically pulling out his phone and saying, we have no credentials on her. She has nothing outside of that white dress and that of that raggedy and sharp hoodie jacket that she was wearing. Not to mention that massive spear-like halberd that she had too. I'm more surprised that somebody of her size is even able to wield that thing. Even Death Arms had a struggling to even take it. So we had to call in that of Mount Lady, and even for her, it was something else. All we know is that she calls herself Io, and that she's only here to protect the man she loves. Within, All Might saying, the man she loves? What do you mean? Within, closing his phone, before then saying, please be prepared, Yagi. I remember when I told you about him. Just don't freak out. Going to that of the other room, pressing a button, as the tinted lights soon fade, showing that of a young man basically drinking hot cocoa while speaking to a detective, alongside that of 2 other pros, mainly that of Airjet and Mount Lady, with soon All Might looking at the face, as he knows that face all too well. He remembers it, especially every time when he remembers about his death on the news. With seeing the face of Izuku Midoriya. With then, All Might remembers about that of several months back, at the beginning of the new year. For students, he remembers that same quirkless boy with the messy green hair nervous disposition, wearing that of a junior high uniform, basically asking, begging, if it's possible for somebody like him without a quirkless person, to be a hero, just like him. As remember, seeing Izuku Midoriya, he was basically an image, looking like a mirror of his old self back in the day. Maybe not taller, bigger, or a lot more muscular back when he was in junior high school. And even back then, he never even worked out once in his life. And yet, he could already see it that this kid was just a mirror of himself back in the day when it was like to have not having powers. However, there was only one difference between the two. Though All Might never trained to be a hero, he always wanted to help others. He still had that determination, even standing up for himself no matter what. But for the kid that he saw, no training, no heart, just a pure want and desire just to hear that it's possible. He didn't think that this kid had any way of ever being a hero like him. And even if he wanted to give him one for all, he felt like he shouldn't. He should give it to somebody with the true determination, the true incentive to wanting to be a hero. So he wanted to let him down easily, telling him that it's impossible for a quirkless person to be a hero. Even trying to tell him to be a police officer or a firefighter or even a doctor, still protecting and saving lives just without being in danger, because being a pro is the most dangerous occupation known to man. Little did All Might know, right after that day, a few days later on the news, they would find the kid's body basically fallen off a roof, bloodied and mangled. With All Might completely and utterly shocked by this, wondering why. Did a villain or within, realizing what the newscast, what that of the anchor reporter saying that due to another suicide of a quirkless person in this day and age. Within hearing that, All Might realize that what he did was basically shatter the boy's dream, not letting him down, but breaking him entirely. After what happened, let's not also bring the fact on what happened to his mother. With just thinking about that, almost made All Might want to throw up his lunch, even though he even had lunch to begin with, given that his stomach was ripped out and half his lung too. With Tsukuguchi placing a hand on that of his friend's back, but then saying, "I can tell you're already feeling guilty about this." Then bring up his phone again, saying, Izuku Midoriya, age, well, by my estimates, possibly 15 years old, but if I'm going to be honest, he looks like maybe a year younger, maybe 14 actually. Within saying, but what's with his hair and also his eyes? They're so red. Yeah, I've noticed that too. Within taking a deep breath, saying, we're not so sure. All we know is that he basically was wandering the streets, wearing basically unique black clothing, had some kind of cloak around that of his shoulders, and soon after, and even a weapon, not as big as the halberd that the young lady, calling herself Io was wielding, but still pretty damn massive. Luckily, Def Arms was able to carry that one. But yes, we even took a blood sample from this boy. This is Izuku Midoriya, the same quirkless boy that committed suicide about that of last year. With All Might complete and utterly shocked by this, utterly terrified, but he just can't know why. Within, soon, looking up to the mirror with Izuku's eyes widening in shock before narrowing a little bit, knowing who's behind the window. With then, soon, as the pro hero Airjet stopped talking, before then looking back at looking at the mirror, with then saying, "Hey, kid, what are you?" Know who's behind that window. It's hard not to notice after all. These eyes of mine can really see through that of one-way mirrors. Only specific types of glass I can't see through. Within, Kamui would say, kid, listen, we got Midoriya. Look, we understand that we're kind of wondering what's going on. It's stated that you are dead. Yeah, I came right out of my family's grave when I noticed when I was wandering the streets after all. But since the person that I didn't expect was here, I want to speak to him now. After I speak with him, I'll basically tell you everything that I went through. But first, I want to see my mother, and I want you to let go of Io. Do we have a deal? Kamui Woods and Airjet look at each other. Before then, they walk out. Then, as the Arbor Hero looks at that of the police detective, and the man that he does not know is the #1 hero of their country, saying, so, which one of you is what Midoriya-kun wants to meet? With then All Might saying, that would be me. I want some privacy with the boy. After that, you can speak to him again. With then Tsuguchi saying, I'll be tagging along too. You're going to need somebody to speak with him, especially an officer, Yagi, as not wanting to say his pro-hero name, given that, of course, nobody knows about his weakness and his true form right now. Within, he nods before, as they soon enter and out of the interrogation room, closing the door, before then pressing a button, as then everything begins to dampen, as sound suppression after all. Within, Airjet saying, that's not good. Within, Kamui would saying, whatever they need to speak to is way too private. Who the heck is that scrawny guy? Within, Airjet saying, don't know, but for some reason he almost looked familiar. I just can't put my finger onto it though. With All Might and Tsuguchi taking a seat, saying, Izuku Midoriya, as Izuku saying, All Might, with realizing, so you really do remember me. Can I saying, I want to know, how's it been? I'm guessing it's been quite a bit of time, even though I've looked like I've rewound my age, right? Or I look different with the white hair and red eyes, don't I? With then Tsuguchi saying, Midoriya-kun, please. You said that you would come clean if we talk. But then saying, and I'm guessing you're a detective, possibly an officer of the law. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't. And given that you are able to even know about that he is All Might, and you're even speaking to him too, you knew about his secret as well. You must be that police friend he was talking about on the rooftop. Within, hearing that, All Might couldn't help but flinch, with even Tsuguchi couldn't help but narrow his eyes a bit before saying, Midoriya-kun, listen, I understand what you probably went through was harrowing, but how are you even here? Your body, within saying, yeah, I've heard. They basically told, Airjet and Kamui Woods told me that a kid like me, a quirkless kid like me, shouldn't be alive. I should be dead, especially given the fact that my mother, alongside that of my, family friends of my mother, the Bakugos, cremated me and put me in an urn right next to that of our family's tombstone. However, they haven't told me about that of my mother. So, care to explain? And why she's not here yet, though? With then hearing this, soon, All Might saying, young Midoriya, before we tell you, please, explain yourself. Explain your appearance. Explain how you are alive, and what happened and what happened tonight. Why did you kill those villains? I understand. You do know that saying killing is wrong, but where I come from, killing is a mercy. With then hearing this, Tsuguchi's quirk, lie detector, activates, saying he's telling the truth. What did he? With then Izuku saying, you'll let, but first I need Io in here. Please let me see her. Let her be by my side. and I'll talk. Within hearing that, Suguchi walks out. A couple minutes later, you could hear that of a frantic deaf arm saying, "You can't be freaking serious!" Before then, closing the door, no longer hearing the voice. As then, Io saying, "Izuku." With then, she runs to that of Izuku and holds him tightly, close to her chest and everything. With Izuku feeling more comfortable now. With All Might saying, young lady, within, soon Izuku saying, it's fine. Io, could you saying, yes, of course. As she holds his left hand, with Izuku holding her right. As Izuku feels a lot less, less stressed or less tense as he was before. Now having a look of resolve, saying, now then, let me explain to you about the jail in the world that I was sent to. With Izuku going into that of a long explanation about his time in the jail as he became a revenant, as his soul and consciousness inhabited the body of a dying revenant, being the main character of Code Vein, meeting that of his friends, fighting against the loss, knowing the truth about that of the Queen of Revenants, the successors, and Mito's plan, and also about the truth of the world outside of the jail, and helping out those in need, fellow revenants as well, and has planned on coming back home, which it seems he arrived, but with a surprise, with holding on tightly onto Io's hand, as throughout his explaining, he almost felt like he was about to have a panic attack if it wasn't for Io there, as of course, Izuku has developed a bit of PTSD, just reminiscing about that of everything he's gone through into the jail. Even though he never died, unlike the others, he still felt the pain, the slaughter, him regrowing his arms and limbs, even his head at one point. His heart was still intact, his body was still intact for him to regenerate, to not fully die at that moment after all. With hearing all of this, both All Might and Detective Suguchi felt completely and utterly in shock as Suguchi wrote all of this down while using his quirk, realizing everything that Izuku said was the truth, or he believes it's the truth. There's no lying to his quirk, even if somebody is basically believing that what they're saying is the truth. There's always secondary knowledge behind that truth, though. With All Might saying, young Midoriya, I... Then Izuku saying, you broke me, All Might. You made me realize that I was powerless and weak. And you were right. I was powerless. I had nothing. And yet, it took basically dying in this world, going to another world, becoming that of a pseudo-vampire to gain power. But I also gained something else that this world never wanted to give me at all. And that it was friends, and a found family as well. With hearing all that, soon All Might stands up before bowing his head saying, please, forgive me, young Midoriya. I'm truly sorry. I just wanted to keep you safe. I didn't mean to cause you so much pain, to make you throw away your life and even go through that of more harrowing experience that a young man like you should never had to go through. For that, I'm sorry. With then Izuku sighing before saying, it's fine, it's absolutely fine, All Might. Within, All Might looking up, seeing tears about to well up into that of his sunken, blackened eyes. Within, saying, now then, I gave you everything. Show me to my mother. Within, hearing this, All Might and Suguchi look at each other. Before then, Suguchi's basically closing his notebook with saying, look, young Midoriya-kun, about your mother, Inko Midoriya. We can't take her to you just yet, but can you wake in the morning, if possible? With Izuku sighing, saying, fine, I'll wait. But no later than in the morning. I don't want to keep her waiting. I went through all of that and left the jail, left my new home and friends to find her. And trust me, I could have gone any sooner than before, because many of you pros may be strong. Even a weakened you, All Might, are pretty strong too, but I've gone through my fair share of deadly battles. I'm not afraid of death anymore, even though I've never died. With All Might feeling the intensity from Izuku's eyes, showing that he is serious. With then Suguchi saying, we promise, we'll get you to a place where you can stay for the time being. Izuku, confused by this, saying, what about my home? Surely she's there. With then Suguchi saying, about that, just be a little patient, okay? With that, both the #1 hero and the detective soon leave the interrogation room, leaving Io and Izuku by themselves. With then All Might basically holding his head in frustration, with Death Arm saying, so, what the hell happened in there? What the hell are they even saying? With then Kumi would saying, Death Arms, please, calm down. With even Airjet saying, cool it, DA. There has to be a reason on why you had to make it quiet, soundproof the entire room, and block out that of the windows as well. But then Suguchi saying, it's a private conversation. I will say this now, Izuku Midoriya and that girl known as Io will not be charged for what they've done, for their vigilantism actions. With then Death Arms, alongside Airjet and Kumi Woods, complete and utter shock, saying, are you kidding me? With then Airjet saying, no, hold on there. I get the kid might have gone through a harrowing experience, especially finding out that he may be that he was dead but now alive, but vigilantism is still vigilantism. With even Kamui saying, agreed. Using a quirk within Suguchi saying, that's the thing. Izuku Midoriya is still considered quirkless by blood tests and everything. Did you all not read? Even the girl is actually still quirkless too. At that, leaving everybody at the precinct, even the pros, still shocked. Suguchi saying, we'll put it under that of self-defense, monitoring them and basically putting them under that of probation for the time being. I'll talk to this with the prosecutors. As for you pros, thank you for your service. You can all head back to your agencies now. But then, Death Arm saying, the hell? What made you want to decide this decision, Suguchi? Within, Suguchi looking at that of the pro. Normally, he's always been a calm and rational man, but right now he's not having it, saying, Onigi-san, I'm only going to ask you once. Drop it now. Or do I have to talk to a few prosecutors and reopen a few of your cases about your misconduct on the field back in the day? Within hearing that, the room went a little bit tense. Before then, Death Arms basically growls, saying, I'll let it go. But if those bastards, those damn hoodlums cause any more problems, it's on you. Don't expect me to basically play nice again. With that, the muscular hero soon walked out of the precinct and heading back to his agency. But then Airjet and Kamui Woods doing the same. Then Airjet saying, I don't know what's with this, why you're trying to protect this kid so much, Suguchi, but I'll play along for now. Just hope that you're not making a mistake. With that, they soon walked out. As then, Suguchi taking off his fedora and even his trench coat, as he couldn't help but basically go back to the entranceway outside of that of the police station, saying, how do we tell him? How do we tell that boy that his mother is in a coma now? That his only current relative that actually would give a damn about him is in a coma. with All Might saying, I don't know. Even I'm a little bit frustrated and angry at myself, don't knowing what to say to that of the young man, to tell him the bad news. But we made a promise. We have to show him. I'll go get my car. We'll take the two to that of a nearby hotel that's near the hospital that she's in. After that, it's up to him to what to do. With All Might walking off, feeling a little bit tense himself, with Suguguchi all alone looking at the night sky, almost feeling like he's already growing that facial hair from the stress alone already. With now knowing the truth about Izuku Midoriya's death, being isekai to another world, and then revival back into this one. Thinking about All Might's early retirement and passing down his quirk to a successor feels completely and utterly trivial currently in this matter now. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. So, what did you guys like about this? You guys think I did the aftermath pretty well? With that of the Hisaikai members basically freaking out that one of their 8 bullets are dead and all that. And, well, and basically doing that of Chisaki, right? With him not even giving a damn about Shin. And also about the interrogation with that of Izuku and Io. And not only that, about how All Might feels the guilt on not being there for that of for Izuku, and also about the fact about having to tell Izuku that Inko is in a coma. Let's just say you guys just have to wait it out and see. At any rate, with all that said, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification key to date my videos uploaded to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my main channel, my gaming channel, my other channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All link in the description below if I'm not too lazy to do so. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, hope you all take care.